And after witnessing all that, we're in a hospital. Makes sense. I would probably not be okay after that. You just even being like unconscious or mentally scarred or anything like that, you know? When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed. It seemed I had been unconscious for quite some time. Normally, there should have been police waiting at my bed to question me, but Dad took care of all that. What do you mean, normally? Have you been through this before? Probably less out of concern for me than out of his desire to keep this troublesome situation from dragging on. I thought they'd discharge me soon enough, but I discovered that my chronic chest pain had grown dramatically more intense. My body was no longer physically capable of enduring a normal life. Oof. Oh no. The doctor said the shock of losing a close friend may well have advanced the progression of the disease, but I didn't really know if that was true. Either way, the pain in my heart was so agonizing it could at times render me unconscious. My parents had more or less abandoned me, but I guess this miserable new development managed to move them to pity. They decided to send me to America for a heart transplant operation. A heart transplant, huh? Personally, I wouldn't have minded just dying, but it seemed like those two wanted to feel like caring parents, so I decided I might as well go along with it. It's okay, all parents in this game are shitheads except Amine, so... Things moved along behind my back. Large amounts of money traded hands, although I didn't know the details. They didn't tell me much of anything about the donor, and I wasn't particularly interested either. All they said was I'd be receiving the same heart of a brain-dead girl of the same age as me. Oh... Is that who the other person inside of us is? The other girl who's brain dead? Because, supernatural shit? I'm sure it must have been a really big, complicated operation, but since that day on the rooftop, I'd been living like an empty husk. Can't really say it felt like much of an ordeal. They carried me off on an airplane to a place where I couldn't understand a word anyone was saying. The doctor put me under anesthesia, and I fell asleep. Before I knew it, I was right back in Japan. Oh, damn, it really did happen in the blink of an eye. I didn't have time to feel much of anything. Feels real bad. My procedure apparently went as smooth as possible. They'd pumped me full of immunosuppressants to prevent my body from rejecting the new heart, but I recovered without any sense of sickness that often resulted as a side effect. My reaction to this news was indifferent at best. It didn't even feel particularly strange having another person's organ inside my body. Well, you're not going to really tell. Sometimes I almost doubted whether they really operated on me. Of course, just touching the scar on my chest was enough to convince myself that it had to be true. But really, what difference did it make either way? The lump of flesh inside me constantly thumping away was different from the one that had been in there yesterday. That was all. Nobody was going to care, nothing important had changed. My doctor celebrated my remarkable recovery from the surgery as a miracle. So enthusiastic you might have thought my good fortune was his own. My parents had relieved expressions on their faces as well, expressions that seemed to read, now we don't have to worry ourselves about this girl anymore. Sounds about right. The many months I had spent in various hospitals came to an end, and I began to recuperate at home. That was when the first signs of the change began to appear. Apparently, I was saying uncharacteristic things to my parents. I was talking and behaving in ways I usually wouldn't, almost as if I'd become a completely different person. Oh, fancy that. My parents were incredulous at first, half expecting some kind of elaborate prank, but as they knew, I wasn't a practical joker by nature. I wasn't consciously aware of any of this. My alternate personality came at the price of gaps in my memory. Maybe I was sleepwalking? Or turning into a different person without even realizing it? I would be freaking out, though. A doctor diligently studied my brain activity and asked me all sorts of questions, but in the end he could only offer a vague conclusion. This phenomena can't be explained by modern medicine. Yeah, because it's supernatural bullshit. I could have told you that. Ultimately, the adults decided that the powerful psychological impact of losing a friend in front of my eyes had led to changes in my personality. But again, I didn't really care either way. I responded with my usual, "Oh, that's so." Uh-huh. The gaps in my memories became frequent, and as time passed, they grew longer, harder to ignore. The other me who showed up in these chunks of lost time seemed surprisingly competent. From what I gathered, she was much more sociable than I was, and a lot better at schoolwork too. Definitely like the soul or something of that brain dead girl. One night, I noticed dinner was a little extravagant. Dad smiled across the table and told me it was a reward for trying so hard at my studies lately. It was kind of a strange experience, but I didn't really mind. I mean, if things were going smoothly, who cared if I remembered doing the things I was being praised for or not? I still wouldn't like that at all. I'd be like, this isn't by my own hands. This is by someone inside of me. As this pattern continued, I found myself acquiring a number of friends as well. Of course, I'd gotten to know them during the blank spaces in my memories, so I didn't really know what sort of people they were. Without any effort on my part, lots of people began greeting me in a friendly tone on the road to school. After saying hi, they'd usually ask, "What's wrong? Not feeling so good today?" Because Michiru at this point is literally dead inside, except this other one who's like, trying to make things better. Seems like they saw the usual me as the sick Michiru, the person who showed up in those blank periods of lost time as the normal, cheerful Michiru. God, why does everyone gotta say that to me? I was lying down in my room one evening when Dad stopped to check up on me. That moment when everyone thinks that this isn't you and the other you is you, but this is actually you, feels really bad. Not knowing what else to do, I forced a strange smile onto my face. Oh, why'd you say it like that? There's two of me inside this body. Oh. Smiling, Dad left the room and closed the door behind him. And all of a sudden, an image flashed in my head. An image of a girl frozen in flight. It was a girl who'd left me so abruptly. My best friend who'd abandoned this world. Stop it! Her final goodbye echoed into my head, resounding off the walls of my skull. The word was terribly sharp. Every time it clanged against the bone, it felt as though someone was drilling me open from the inside. Stop it. Trembling with fear and pain, I dove into my bed in search of refuge. Greasy sweat broke out on my forehead. I swallowed a handful of sleeping pills my doctor had prescribed, pulled the blanket over my head, and squeezed my eyes shut. You did a handful? If I can get past this, I'll become the cheerful Michiru again. I can't break down now. I silently repeat those words to myself. And soon enough, drowsiness wrapped me up in a thick, sticky cocoon, blanket and all. Finally, I'll be able to sleep. I'll pull through this after all. It was just as those thoughts were running hazily through my mind, just as I stood on the border between reality and dreams, when I heard the unfamiliar voice from outside my blanket. Why did it sound like we were underwater? I didn't understand in the slightest how this was supposed to be alright. Hearing a voice of some strange woman as I tried to fall asleep really didn't seem to qualify. The instant I heard those words, I felt my heart pound violently. A sharp, white-hot pain spread from my chest throughout my entire body, as if traveling through my blood vessels. I remember the doctor offhandedly mentioning a phenomenon known as cellular memory. In rare cases, patients receiving heart transplants had seemed to inherit aspects of the previous owner's tastes or memories. Is that a thing? Does that actually happen? If so, that's pretty crazy. He didn't seem to believe in the idea, but maybe it was real. Maybe that had happened to me. No, this wasn't anything so minor. The former owner's entire personality had slipped inside me, complete and distinct from my own. And now she was talking to me, declaring herself my best friend. I wasn't about to put up with that. Another best friend was the last thing I wanted. Damn. Hate right out the bat, huh? Throwing off my covers, my pulse pounding in fear of my own body, I shouted at the disembodied voice. Don't do that, people are gonna think you're even crazier. I couldn't even tell if this was reality or some insane nightmare. My terror escalated into frenzy. I ripped out clumps of my own hair, bit my own arms, and kicked things all over the room until my feet bled. But it wasn't enough. I grabbed a box cutter, stop it, from my desk, grasped it tightly in my hands, and listened carefully, trying to figure out where the voice was coming from. Your head! God, stop it. Stop. Put the box cutter down. You're not Yumiko right now, okay? The voice was the cause of this pain. It flowed through my body with the blood pumping out of my heart, bringing agony with it. I had to get the voice out of my body. I had to, or I was gonna go crazy. Don't say you're gonna either stab your head or your heart, cause... Oh, she did. Well, that's... With that thought, I cut at my wrist with the blade. That is not trying to drain the voice out of me along with my blood. But no matter how my arm bled, the voice remained securely inside my body. In that case, I had no choice. I needed to uproot it directly. I needed to get rid of that foreign entity pulsing away inside me. Michiru? Oh. Well, I pointed the blade at my own chest and stabbed as hard as I could. Yep, there. I figured she was going to do that. I didn't think she'd go for the wrist first, so I was like, okay, maybe she's not going to do it. But nope. I should, It wasn't the sharpest blade, but it broke the skin easily enough. Slowly, it gouged its way through my flesh. Just a little further and it'd reach the heart. The invasion would be over soon. I'd be rid of the voice. I felt relief washing over me, but just then, I smelled that distinctive mix of cigarettes and strange women, and realized that my father had entered the room. Before I knew it, my room had become a disaster scene. The shattered and torn remnants of my belongings stained dark red with splashes of fresh blood, not flesh blood. The box cutter fell from my hands and hit the ground with a dull thunk. The sound abruptly brought me back to reality. Dad's familiar face was so contorted that he looked like an entirely different person. I had to smile, had to reassure him. What do you mean? But different words came out of my mouth.
Hey, Papa.
Oh. Dad hugged me very closely for the first time in many years, but it was very different from the girl's embrace. From that girl's embrace. Even though he was holding me close, I could feel a vast chasm looming between us. And, back in the hospital. Why am I always in the hospital? No matter who I'm playing. That very night, I was admitted to a new hospital. Not that I had any choice in the matter. It was the kind of building that has iron bars on every window. Oh, that kind of. Even though you could crack them open a few centimeters away. It was very quiet there. All the patients were tranquil and sedate. Sometimes I felt as though I'd wandered into some forgotten corner of the afterlife. Oh, they told me that people suffering from illnesses of the mind were gathered here. But I never saw anyone thrash around violently or scream and rant at phantoms. Everyone had a content, vaguely dopey little smile on their faces. For the most part, they passed the days quietly watching TV. Because we're at an insane asylum. Feels bad. There were times when I found those constant, unchanging smiles frightening, but I got the idea soon enough. Basically, it was a place where you could live without getting tangled up in your emotions. You could pass the time peacefully, only thinking about pleasant things. To put the opposite spin on it, in that place you weren't allowed to think about anything else. When they let us outside for a walk, the metal shackles that usually bound my legs were removed. In exchange, they loosened a rope, looped a rope around our waists. God damn. All the patients were tied together on that one length of rope, like children pretending to be a train. Even though we were all grown up now, I always thought that was kind of silly. The medicine they gave me there made my mind feel pleasantly clear. The other personality didn't emerge. That eerie voice didn't crawl through my veins like a swarm of insects. Oh, she's coming back. It was like living inside a tightly closed music box. Boring, but very peaceful. I stayed in there for a long time. I didn't talk with anyone. For the most part, I just stood quietly out by the wall, trying not to stand out, trying to shrink myself down to the point where the world would overlook me. Ooh, but one day I caught my chains on the leg of a chair and tripped to the ground. That had never happened before, so I wasn't sure what to do. Fortunately, no one insulted me or yelled angrily. Instead, a few patients nearby put their hands to their mouths and giggled softly in amusement. Wow, fuck you guys. I like hearing that sound. And lying there on the ground, an idea occurred to me. Maybe if I fell on purpose, I could make people laugh again. The next day, I tripped again. Again, the people who noticed laughed a little. The day after that, I deliberately spilled a glass of water, and once more I heard the pleasant voice of laughter. Emboldened by my success, I spoke. This is why she's the fool. More people laughed than before. Their voices were warm and gentle. I'd found a way to make myself useful. By devoting myself to clowning around, I could at least make others smile. Okay. From that day on, I acted out a sillier version of myself. An exaggerated, funny caricature of me. And I sustained myself on a sugary, sweet diet of laughter. All right. Oh, God. All right, then. From now on, I'd go with this way of life. The pretending didn't bother me. It was worth it to do something for other people. It was worth it to have something to live for. Oh, nobody had appreciated me before because I wanted them to like the real me. But problem was, the real me wasn't any good, so I might as well just pretend. All I had to do was act out the most convenient role, force out the most convenient emotions, become someone who put a smile on people's faces. Even if that meant the real me disappeared entirely, I didn't care. I was a little anxious about whether someone as stupid as me could even act convincingly, but I had no choice but to try. Among the patients, I gained a niche as the weird girl, but funny girl. As I grew into the role, I became more lively. In time, the doctors decided I was on my way to a full recovery and politely ejected me from the hospital. Get out, you little scamp. Oh, God. I lost my place in the world, but my parents soon found me another. Apparently, they'd heard somewhere or other about this special school that only gathered students with complicated circumstances. I was enrolled in Hama Academy soon after my return. I kept right on playing the clown in this school. I thought it would be nice to keep everyone laughing, and in fact, that's just how things turned out. The days rolled past pleasantly enough for the most part. But every once in a while, I'd abruptly remember that this too was nothing but an artificial make-believe world. When everyone laughed together, I wasn't smiling from the heart, and over time, my uncertainty grew. I didn't want to lose what I'd found here, but I didn't want to grow dependent on it. The more I pretended to be someone I wasn't, the less I understood what I wanted to do. Did an imposter like me really belong here in the first place? It felt like I was living in an antlion's pit. There was nothing, nowhere else for me to go. No way out of the rut. All I could do was struggle not to fall. Well, well, we're back. Whew. That was a short flashback, but you know, it definitely was very meaningful. Having delivered her lengthy story in one uninterrupted sitting, Michiru finally pauses, her face lined with fatigue.
薬で自分の知らない自分を抑えて人の顔色を伺って生きているのが私。そんな私を抱いてくれてありがとう。ごっこでも恋人のふりでもしてくれてありがとう。私幸せなのかもって勘違いしそうになっちゃったけど、全部嘘だって分かってるし大丈夫。
ユージ
ユージに抱きしめてもらってる時、キスしてもらってる時、今が終わらなければいいのにってずっと考えてた。でも終わっちゃうんだよね。いつかは離れちゃう。怖いね、それって。
Scratching my head, I search for the words Michiru needs to hear. They prove surprisingly easy to find. What you need right now isn't that fatalistic pessimism. It's medical treatment. A visit to the hospital would be a good start. Your problem's too complex to face on your own. For now, let the professionals figure it out. And after they've found the cause, work slowly and surely toward getting better. I think I understand the general outline of the situation. The memories of her organ donor have influenced Michiru's mind, or so she thinks at least. Not exactly a common phenomena, but apparently not entirely unprecedented. Whatever the case may be, what the girl needs is appropriate treatment in an appropriate setting.
どうしても病院に行かなくちゃダメ。
God, that sounds so sad. Yeah, I'd strongly recommend it. I doubt they'll keep you there longer than a week for an examination like this. And I'm worried about you.
心配か。本当なら嬉しいな。
Why would I lie? I didn't dislike that make-believe game of yours. I probably could have found another way to kill time, but playing around with you was, well, it was enjoyable.
本当に?
Yes. I'm not lying. How many times do you want to make me say the exact same thing?
ごめんなさい。だって出しといて愉快って思ってくれるなんて嬉しくて。
I don't want you to disappear on me, Michiru. I'd find that unpleasant.
困る？どうして？
This is seriously the last time I'm going to repeat myself. Because the time I spent with you wasn't that bad. Just... I take Michiru by the shoulders and look her straight in the eyes. You're living in the present, Michiru. Don't let yourself get caught up in the past. You can't fix it. I of all people know, because I have the darkest backstory of them all. But we won't figure that out until the next game. So, let's hope you're ready for that one. It's already taken me more than a year to almost finish this one. What do you think about that? What's done can't be undone, but the future's still yours to shape. Incredibly obvious, yes, but it doesn't hurt to keep that in mind. Right now, your future is on the line. You need to take control of it. With that said, I kiss Michiru briefly on the lips. Oh, she turns down her face in embarrassment and hesitates for a moment, studying the floor as if deciding which words to pick up off the ground.
ありがとう、ユージ。
In the end, she chooses extremely simple ones. Extremely simple, but not that bad. A pretty respectable choice, actually.
ユージがそう言うなら、明日にでも検査に行く。早い方がいいでしょ。
True. Leave the arrangements with the hospital to me. I'll get something worked out.
ありがとう。ごめんね、迷惑かけて。
You're not a nuisance. But if you're feeling guilty anyway, you can show me your gratitude once you're feeling better.
エッチなことで。
Oh my. Well, hey. No, don't be an idiot. Bam! Just...
冗談。ねえ、できれば明日の朝早くにここを出て病院に行きたい。
I don't mind, but why?
他の子に見られたら恥ずかしいじゃない。だからそれだけ。5時でお願いします。
I don't see a problem with that. I get it. Sure, no, not a problem. For now, you should get some rest.
うん、わかった。ねえユージ、私ユージのことが好き。
Oh.
なんて言わないんだからね。
Oh, you just stop it. She delivers this line in such a subdued, quavery tone of voice that I can't help but laugh. Yeah, I got it. Alright then, I'll see you tomorrow.
またね。
Okay, bye. Whew. Well, looks like I'm going to end up indebted to Chizuru yet again. I spend my walk to the principal's office, ruminating on Michiru's story. Her tale's still fragmentary, and the plot's tangled. Deciphering it's going to be difficult. Might even turn out to be one of those books you can spend a lifetime on without ever finding a conclusive interpretation. But even so, I've decided to keep turning the pages. Why? Because it feels like the thing to do. Simple as that. Thanks, Yuji. Well... See, at least we know way more about Michiru now. She's not just, we know like why she plays the fool, why she does the soon thing. We know why what her her circumstances were, what happened, what caused her to come here, as well as who the person inside of her in fact is or could be. After we parted yesterday, Michiru slept soundly, though through the night. Sharing the burden she'd carried in secret for so long, even momentarily, must have brought her some relief. I explained the situation to Chizuru and had her arrange for an investigative stay in a nearby hospital. Of course, this involved enduring a great deal of sarcasm and sniping. But our principal wasn't about to refuse to help a student in need of medical attention. I would hope not. I can't say whether she was moved more by pseudo-parental affection or a professional concern for her responsibilities, but I suppose it hardly matters. Early the next morning, I prepared to see off Michiru. Normally, I'd be pulling on my sweats and heading out for a normal run right about now, but today I'm skipping that. Skipping out on running? An exercise routine is only meaningful when you follow it faithfully. There's no point in doing it at all if you take days off, but I understand that some things are more important than a training schedule. Some things can withstand a day's neglect. Others can be lost in a heartbeat. Don't talk about hearts. Difficult as it can be to accurately identify the difference, prioritizing them appropriately is obviously crucial. Michiru, hello. I head upstairs to Michiru's room and knock lightly on her door, but there's no answer. Oh, god damn it. She's most likely still preparing for her departure. It's generally understood that women take time to get themselves ready to go anywhere. Deciding it's best not to rush the girl, I patiently stand by in front of her room for some time. Finally deciding that we need to get going, I call out her name. Michiru. Michiru, hello. Michiru. Oh, hello? What happened there? Well, that was weird. But again, there's still no response. I suppose it's a little early for her. Maybe she's still sleeping in. I think it's probably something worse. Michiru, everything all right in there? At last, there's a quiet answer from inside the room.
もう何回か名前呼んで。そしたら行く。
God damn it. Strikes me as a bit of a strange request, but I obey. Michiru! Michiru! Oh, god damn it. Michiru! After repeating her name numerous times, I hear a rummaging sound from within. A moment later, Michiru eases open the door, dragging along a small suitcase as if it were loaded with bricks. The girl's wearing strangely dressy clothing. What's with the outfit?
どうしたってどうもしてないよ。だって会えなくなるから最後は可愛い服で会いたい。
Sure, but you're only going for a week or so, right? He'll be back soon enough. What's the point?
だからユージは女心が分かってないって言われるのよ。
Oh, and who's they?
榊だ。
God damn it. Skaki, huh?
なんだか寂しいな。
Michiru pouts a little, a clear shade of melancholy in her eyes. Seeing her take this attitude, I feel a twinge of reluctance myself. Maybe the girl could stay. My help might be enough to pull her through the worst of it. Oh, wait a minute.
どうしたの？怖い顔して。
I didn't like how that sounded. Are we about to make a decision right now? The route doesn't even seem like it's almost over. We still got way more shit to do. Well... Oh, it is. Crap. Someone told me that, like, Michiru's decision comes, like way earlier into the route, so... but I didn't think it'd be now. So, don't leave after all. Let's stay together. Or how about a kiss before you go? I think we're gonna make this a shorter episode, because I need to think about this. Look, this might actually be the route where I get a bad end. Will we break the streak? Okay, if we don't leave, I could support her, but at the same time, she's not gonna get the help she needs to be able to deal with this. If she goes, she's not gonna be around me or anyone else, but she'll be getting the help she needs. And I like how this is stated, because it's just, that's Yuji being like, how about a kiss? Come on, I like you, you know. But I think I'm gonna think a little bit longer on this one. I kind of want to do this one, just because I like the way it sounds, at least the way it's perceived in my head. But who knows, maybe this might be the right answer that I need to do after all. But I'm feeling no, but I'm going to think a little bit about it. At least we finished Michiru's little backstory, I suppose. You guys already know. Don't worry, the next episode's not going to be the finale. They still got a whole, like, half of a route to do. If people telling me that the decision appears like through half the route is correct. Oh, god damn it. Okay, well, I'll be back once I've figured out my thoughts and figured out what exactly that I want to do. So, I'll be back. I'll see you guys, well, shortly, I guess. A couple days, give or take. Look, I got like 9 series going on. What do you want from me?